Hello YouTube and welcome back to Let's Play Dungeon Defenders. I was about to say Bloons Tower Defense, but that's another Let's Play that I do. Anyways, in this episode, I am at the Foundries and Forges, which is the second level in this game, and one of my favorites. Just because the design is very symmetrical. You can hold left shift to look at the map. There are 3 doors, and obviously you need to defend each of them pretty much equally. So, or actually, unfortunately, on the first wave, I don't have enough mana to defend all of them equally. And you may have noticed that I am able to place a few new towers from the last level that I didn't even address. I don't remember what level you get the magic blockade, but it is the little wall that you can use. It costs 20 mana. It will attract the attention of the enemies, pretty much, and they'll attack it, and when they do hit it, also something, when they hit the magic blockade, it will get rid of their elemental affinity, but if they just run into it, it won't do anything, as far as I remember. So that will come into play in a little bit. But for right now, I'm just placing down this last magical missile tower, just magic missile tower, not magical, and then starting the round. Now I'm going to have to stay here, because I've only got one magic missile tower here, and it doesn't have enough range to cover both sides. So I'm just going to have to go in, and you can see that that goblin had a sort of fiery glow about him, and then he had the sort of fire icon next to him. Next to his HP, and that means that he had the fire affinity, or elemental affinity. And the new tower that I have, in addition to the magic blockade, is the fireball tower. And as you might have guessed, it does fire damage in a splash damage area of effect type of way. Kind of like a cannonball, I guess. But the problem with it is that it doesn't do any damage to enemies of a magical affinity. Now, right now I'm just kind of running around trying to get some mana, but unfortunately, where I placed my magic missile tower on that middle part, it's on the wrong side of the staircase, so it doesn't have the range to get these 3 enemies that I'm going to have to come in and take down on my own, which isn't much of a problem, because they go down pretty quickly, and they get kind of stunned whenever I hit them, so I don't have to worry about them attacking me while I'm attacking them. Alright, so that was the first wave. First wave can sometimes be the hardest because you don't always have as much mana as you'd like to spend on defenses. And of course, you may never have as much mana as you like, but generally they're pretty good at giving you all the mana you need. Alright, so now on this second wave, I'm just going to put a 3rd magic missile tower right here, pretty much in the middle. I think it's a little bit too close to the left, but I'll just have to deal with that. I could sell the turret. Actually, yeah, I will show that. It is in a pretty good position, but it is a little bit to the side, I think. So you can sell your defense and just replace it, which I don't know if that's any better. Probably not. But another thing is that when you sell your defense within the same build phase that you built it, then you get a full refund. If you were to build it in this build phase, and then go on to the combat phase and then try to sell it, then you'll get at most half of your money back. If your defense has taken half damage, like it's only at 50 out of 100 health, then you'll only get a quarter of the money back. So that's something to keep in mind. I generally don't really advise selling your defenses unless you're full on defense units, which is something that I should have mentioned in the last episode. In the top right corner under the build, then it should say defense units, and that's basically the amount of if you're familiar with the games StarCraft or Warcraft, then it's kind of like the population limit, where you can only build so many towers on the screen or on the map, because if it let you build infinite amount of towers, then that could get out of hand pretty quickly. Alright, so now there's 3 magic missile towers on all of these defenses, or all of these, what are they called? Staircases, I guess. Now I'm going to build some magic blockades here, because there is that gap in between the magic missile towers that if there's enough enemies, then they will just kind of walk past your towers. They won't stomp and attack them if there's too many enemies in their way trying to attack them. So, oops, not what I meant. I'm not putting them necessarily right in between the magic missile towers, because I'm going to eventually, if I have enough mana, put some fireball towers in between there. Now, there's no more mana, I think, on the field, so instead I'm just going to stand here and sort of watch over this little staircase, because I'm pretty confident that the others will be okay. So now I'm just standing here to make sure that no enemies get through, and wait for it. There we go. So now I have enough mana to put in the magic blockades here, because they only cost 20, which is really good, and they're only 1 defense unit, so they don't cost that much in any regard. But they are very effective and helpful for the Apprentice, especially because 2 of his towers, the Fireball Tower and the Lightning Tower, have that magical affinity. The Fireball obviously does fire damage, and the Lightning Tower does electric damage, so if there was any fire or electric type enemies, then you'd have to use both of those towers, or use a magic blockade to get rid of their affinity. Now, I actually would kind of prefer using the Lightning Tower, but I don't have enough, I'm not at the high enough level. So using the Fireball Tower, it has more attack power, it has a sort of area of effect damage, and it has more range. However, it does have a slower attack rate, so that's always something to consider. And you might have noticed that I kind of put it facing towards the right side, even though I'm placing it on the left. Once I get this treasure chest, then I'm going to place another Fireball Tower that's more on the right side, facing towards the left. I'll show you right here. That way, I'm a little more confident that I'm getting the entire staircase area covered, just to be sure that no enemies can slip through or get through unhurt. Alright, so now I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have enough mana to build another 4 Fireball turrets, or Fireball Towers, and let's see, here you can check that it has 5 defense units, which means that building another 4 is going to take 20 defense units. Yeah, just double checking my math for a second. And because I've already used 43 defense units, that will bring my total up to 63, which is less than 80, which is my limit, so that's good. And that's an extra 17 defense units that I have extra. Oh man, if only I had 4 more mana. I'm sure there might have been 4 more mana somewhere else on the map, but aside from that, I can just wait for these enemies to get killed and then use their mana to drop. And another thing to remember is that you can build during the combat phase, but it does take a little bit longer than if you're building in the build phase. So even if your defenses aren't completely ready before the combat phase, and you know that you just need a little bit more mana, then go ahead and start the round and just wait near where the enemies are, so you can get a little bit more mana, and then just build your defense right there. Now, obviously I still need 160 mana to build these 2 Fireball turrets, Fireball Cannon Towers, Fireball Tower, yeah. And what was I going to say? I don't know. Another thing to notice is that the Magic Missile Towers do not have any elemental affinity. They're sort of a neutral tower, which is what makes them really effective, is because then you don't have to worry about some enemies not being able to be hurt by the Magic Missile Tower. The Fireball Tower, it is really good, but there is that problem of some enemies not being hurt by them. And again, because I upgraded the HP, it does look like all my towers are now hurt, but I'm not going to worry about that right now, because that would be kind of a lot of mana, just running around healing that little bit of health. So for right now I'm just going to kind of ignore it, even though it does bug me that now all of my defenses are telling me that they're hurt and they need help, even though they do not. Alright, so now, let's see. Yeah, when you fill up your defense units, when you use all of them up to the max, it gives you a little bit of an experience boost. And I should not grab that chest because I have less than 40 mana left to get. I'm going to put 2 more, or actually, I'm going to put 3 more fireball turrets, fireball towers. I don't know why I keep saying turrets, or because of harpoon turret from the squire. Oops, need more mana. So with 3 more fireball towers, that will give me a total of 78. Well, because now it's 2 more, so it'll give me 78, and then I'll build 2 more magic blockades to add that additional 2 defense units. And then once I have the full 80, then I will get that bit of an experience boost. Now, you might be wondering why I'm putting the 3 extra fireball towers here rather than splitting up the fireball towers amidst the other 2 staircase doorway passages things. And that is because there will be an ogre that comes through that middle door. At the last wave of quite a few levels, and sometimes a couple waves before the last wave, there will be an ogre. And that ogre is much stronger than a lot of the other enemies, and they have a lot more HP, so it takes a lot more good concentration in the defenses to deal with them. And again, I'm just putting these magic blockades kind of to increase my defense units, so they don't really need to be like right in the line of fire. Like, I could have just put them somewhere else, like behind my turrets or something, but they will be a little bit more effective right there than, you know, off the battlefield. So now I have full defense units, and you can see that now the numbers are red, meaning that, you know, it's filled up. And now this side will be very well defended because of all these turrets. And something I should, well, first, I'm just going to repair all these, just because it's starting to annoy me. There's the new enemy, the kobold. They're quite frustrating because they'll just light the dynamite on their back and then just charge at you and explode. If you do have a tower with good enough attack range, or if you just go in yourself, you can defeat them before they light their fuse, which will stop them from exploding on impact. Oops, just stopped right in front of that guy. What was I saying? The kobold, it'll only drop mana if you kill it before it lights its fuse. So always look out for that, and they do a lot of damage when they explode. A lot, because if you have a lot of towers bunched together, kind of like I do, then the damage is spread out over all of them. I'm pretty sure it'll do the same amount of damage to each of them as it would to a single tower, I think. Although now that I'm thinking about it, that's not right. It does less damage the farther away from the explosion you are. So if they are all bunched together like this, if it hit on the left side magic missile tower, then it'll do more damage over here, but then on the center and on the right, it's not going to do as much because it's farther away. And I have full mana, so I should repair these. Now, something else I should mention is that once you have 100 mana, then you'll be able to upgrade your towers. It costs 100 mana per tower to upgrade it by 1 level, and that little increase will just give a increase to all of its stats. Its HP, range, attack damage, and attack rate. So it's pretty helpful, but I pretty much always recommend that you fill out your defense units before you start upgrading, because the cost of upgrading a magic missile tower for 100 mana, it doesn't like double the stats or triple it or anything, it's just a small boost. So it's always more cost efficient to just build a second magic missile tower rather than upgrade the one that you already have. And right now, all my defenses are built and they're all doing pretty good, so I don't really need to worry too much about building or about conserving mana. So it's okay to gather mana from the treasure chest if you're already close to the max. But now I'm just going to upgrade those two, and there's plenty more mana on the field that I can get, but I'm not going to worry about that. Now also something that I should have mentioned before I started the round was the billboards that show what enemies are coming out of which doors. Here, you might have noticed that it did have a little symbol for the ogre, and it was just one, and it was kind of like a big cyclops. So it doesn't tell you when in the round that they're going to appear, but then there's the kobolds making trouble. But so it doesn't tell you when in the round that the ogre will appear, but I already know it's about halfway, kind of more near the middle. I mean, near the end, I guess. Also, something I should notice, or talk about, is the goblins, the little ones. Now they have that little carrot above their head, and they're a little more orange than before. That is to signify that now they're a little bit stronger, kind of like on their second stage, almost as if you were to upgrade them. Because it's the final round, or the final wave, then it makes them a little bit stronger to make the challenge a little bit more difficult. And just throughout the game, the enemies get a little bit stronger. What else? They have more HP, they do more damage, and I think they run a little faster. I'm not sure. And there is the ogre. He has 14,000 HP. Now his carrot, I'm not sure if it's still called a carrot, but it's upside down, so he's actually one of the weaker ogres. It's the same ogre that you would find anytime you play this level. It's not like I was lucky and I found a weaker ogre. It's always this one. And as you can see, he's doing a lot of damage because he has a good area of effect because of that shockwave that comes out when he hits with his club. And then he can also shoot out that like green poison magic ball thing. So always keep an eye on your defense's health whenever an ogre is around, because they can really wail into him. It does quite a bit of damage, and especially because all my defenses are all close together, and I really shouldn't have been healing that, because I already knew that the round was about to end, and then, you know, your defenses disappear, they don't carry over or anything, so there's no real reason to worry too much about them. Now, like always, just healing everything, or not healing, adding stats to all of them. And because the defense units were all maxed out and getting a little more experience and everything, just getting a little more mana. Just because, even though I've already got like 2 billion, which I don't need at all, and I feel like it's cheating to use mana now because I have so much, so I never really use it. And I'm just looking at these pieces of equipment because sometimes they'll increase, well, my personal, my hero attack, that little +2 there. I don't really need it. I'm mainly looking for something that'll increase my hero speed so I can run around faster, because that's always appreciated, but nothing good. I'm sure because I don't have any equipment, all of the equipment is saying, oh, this is a positive, you should get that equipment, but I really don't need it. So that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.